Broncos country and Pat Surtain especially woke up to some great news this morning as the team has locked up their star cornerback on a monster record-setting contract extension. So we're going to break it all down on today's video, and I'm going to tell you why I love this deal for Pat Surtain and for the Broncos. But here are the contract details. It's a 4-year, $96 million contract extension. That's an average of $24 million a season, making him the highest paid cornerback in football with $77.5 guaranteed million. So the way I like to look at this is 3-year, $77.5 million extension if you want to be on what's the earliest the Broncos could get outside of things, although I don't think they're going to get out of this contract because they don't want to get out of this contract. Pat Surtain is the best cornerback in football, and my suspicion is the team might have wanted to do a 5-year extension, but the player wanted to do 4 years so he could get paid one more time before he turns 30 years old. But with this extension, Pat Surtain moves up to number 1 on the leaderboard for highest paid cornerbacks. He surpassed Jair Alexander by $3 million. Now, I have been talking about a Pat Surtain extension for a long time on this channel, and I've tossed out a couple of different contract projection ideas, but last one I put up had him at $22 million a season. The Broncos reward their star cornerback for being the best cornerback in football. No cornerback has played more snaps in the last 2 seasons than number 2. So the best ability in the NFL is availability. And Pat Surtain is not just available, he's also just the flat-out best cornerback in football, and I'll prove it in just a moment. But we've been talking about this for a while on the channel, and if you go back to the end of last week, I don't want to say I called it, but I kind of called it. Let's roll the tapes from what I said a week ago. Watch for something to get done before NFL Week 1. So, quick self-plug here. That's why you subscribe to the channel, because when we talk about stuff here, it's for a good reason. And if you want to be ahead of the curve in the future, go ahead and subscribe right now. Never miss a piece of Broncos news or rumors or some crystal ball stuff like this. So go ahead and subscribe to one of the largest growing Broncos YouTube communities out there. If you have not subscribed, guarantee you'll like it. If not, your money back, because it's completely free. So why not give it a shot? But like I've been saying, Pat Surtain, the best cornerback in football right now. Last season, 12 pass breakups, 1 interception. That comes off a 2-interception sophomore campaign and a 4-interception rookie season. Pat Surtain has become an island-style corner, and if we go back in time to when he was drafted, let's give George Paton some kudos. He locked up Quinn Miners earlier this offseason, and he's locked up Pat Surtain earlier this offseason. George Paton, I think, got off to a great start as the Broncos GM. Then there were some questionable decisions, right? The Russell Wilson trade is one where ultimately it's going to fall on his shoulders. But if you think back at that moment, every single team was in on Russell Wilson still being a good quarterback, except for the Seattle Seahawks. So give them credit for kind of having a good idea for what is to come. But no one disliked the trade, really, when it happened. And then for the Nathaniel Hackett hire, that's just an absolute blunder and a miss. But outside of those two, big mistakes, don't get me wrong. He has made a lot of really good decisions, like taking Pat Surtain over Justin Fields, finding a hidden gem in Quinn Miners in round 3 of the draft out of a D2, D3 Wisconsin Whitewater. He's had some really good draft polls, and Pat Surtain, even though he was a first-round pick, might be the best of all, just simply because I think he's on a path to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Now, more on this in just a moment, but first, I do want to give a quick shout-out to our sponsor today, which is Game Time. Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, create an account and redeem that code CHAT SPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. So go check them out if you want to go catch a Broncos game, whether it's the home opener against who? Oh yeah, Russell Wilson and the Steelers, a road game, or anything else in your local area. Visit Game Time first and save $20 thanks to Game Time. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. So, like we were saying, Pat Surtain, I don't think I should have to convince anyone that Pat Surtain is an incredible cornerback in this league. After his rookie season, his peers had already looked at him as a top 5 cornerback in football, and teams were looking at Pat Surtain as teach tape, right? You saw so many veteran cornerbacks just look at Pat Surtain as a model of what others should do as a rookie. I think the closest example we can really get to this is when Johnny Football won the Heisman as a rookie, and that was groundbreaking at the time. Now we see a couple of more rookies kind of break through the college football sphere, but Pat Surtain's a rookie in the NFL, showing 5, 6, 7-year vets how to play the position. I mean, it was just unfathomable just how good he could be so early on. And for that position, we know that it doesn't age super well. Like, you don't find great corners into their early 30s. So for Denver to get him locked up with 2 years still remaining on his contract going into the 2029 season, they've got the best in the biz for 6 more seasons. How can you not love this deal? This is a great deal for the Broncos. I want to get your opinion, though, on the extension. Grade it for me down below, A, B, C, D, or F. I'm giving it an A++. Every single day when I leave work, I tell my dog, I want an A++ report card from you when I come home. And Cruz always gives me an A++ report card. Pat Surtain, A+++. That's how much I love this deal, simply because I didn't think there was a number too big for the number 1 cornerback in football. Like, if you just think about the direction that football is headed, we are passing the ball more than ever before. So football, a little bit like science, every action has to have a reaction. You know what I mean? As the quarterback position became more important, like, let's go back even further. Initially, early days of football, you run the football, right? And so if you're running the football, you need a good linebacker on the other side of the defense. And there were a lot of great linebackers in the early decades of the NFL. Then as the quarterback became more important, well, you needed pass rushers to take down the quarterback. So insert Reggie White and all those other great pass rushers of that era. And then offensive tackles had to become more important to stop those pass rushers. And then you had to get wide receivers to help those quarterbacks out. And now you need cornerbacks to slow down all these great wide receivers, because there are a ton of great wide receivers. Every single NFL draft class, it feels like it was better than the last. So for the Broncos to get Pat Surtain locked down for the next 6 seasons, he still has this year and his 5th-year option in 2025, and now 4 more years tacked onto it, I can't see a single downside. Like, the only way this doesn't work out is if Pat Surtain falls off a cliff. And that's just not going to happen. It's not. I'll put the house on it. I'll put the mortgage. I'll take a second mortgage out and put it on it. Pat Surtain is that dude. He's that great of a lockdown cornerback. I mean, if you don't believe me, how about him going up against some of the best corners to ever play the game? Through the first 3 seasons of their NFL careers, Pat Surtain's only given up 2 games with 100-plus yards in coverage. That's the same amount as Darrelle Revis, Hall of Famer, Richard Sherman, future Hall of Famer. That's half of what Jalen Ramsey gave up in his first 3 seasons. I would say future Hall of Famer. And then more than half of what Patrick Peterson gave up in his first 3 seasons. Definitely a future Hall of Famer. Like, Pat Surtain is on a level that we have not seen probably since Darrelle Revis. Now, like I said, I put out my contract projection, and this was the latest one I gave. 5 years, $110 million. I thought the Broncos might want to kind of get him locked up for as long as possible. Maybe Pat Surtain and his agent wanted to do a 4-year deal so that he could kind of dip his toe back in free agency a little bit earlier, so that he's not as old and he can still get another good contract. But I had an average of $22 million, which, I mean, not too far off from what he ended up getting. Look at the guaranteed money. That's really what's important. Like, the overall money's cute, but $77.5 million. I projected $75 million, because guaranteed is what the GM looks at, because that's how long they're really, in bed with that player for. So Pat Surtain, 4-year, $96 million extension. And ESPN over the summer released their cornerback rankings by polling GMs, coaches, players, scouts. And who do they have at number 1? Pat Surtain. Like, no surprise. This is a great deal for the Broncos. Like I said earlier, the availability is one of the most underappreciated elements of PS2's game. How often do we hear, knock on wood, do we hear Pat Surtain on the injury report? Never. Like, he is always out there, and he is always going to be a nightmare for whatever star receiver the other team sends on the field. Pat Surtain, locked up long-term. Let's effing go. Going into NFL Week 1, which you just got to envision, like, in the locker room, and this is what I said last week. The vibes are at an all-time high right now. Pat Surtain, a captain, a leader of this team. Everyone's got to be jazzed up for him. Everyone's got to be rallying around going, our guy just got paid in a monster way, in a record-setting way. So who you got for NFL Week 1? Broncos or Seahawks? Let's end the video on this right here. Give me the Broncos. Initial projection was Seattle, and I think this is just guilty of, it's game week, so I want to be half glass full. Rookie quarterback on the road, tough environment. That won't be easy, but, DK Metcalf isn't going to get open all day. No chance. Not with PS2 on top of him. So give me the Broncos all day long.